Hello and welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Umpires Call podcast. Today we'll be reviewing the England-India test. As you probably know, it lasted 2 days. Yeah, we're filming this at the moment at pretty much 4:30. So on a Thursday, it started Wednesday yesterday. It should still be going on right now, but it's not because it was 2 days. So should we start off with the pitch? Like thoughts on the pitch?
I thought it
Can I
was a
take? I'll
beautiful
take this one.
pitch. Beautiful
No, Sab,
pitch.
can I take this one? Sab, can I take this
Okay.
one? Realistically, when England went out to bat on the first day, and Big Zach was hitting some lovely covered drives off the seamers, and then Axar Patel came onto bowl, and from there it started ragging from ball one. We've had a bit of a chat between ourselves on this, and I think it rightly so. There should probably be an investigation into the pitch. I wouldn't be surprised if it's rated very poor by the ICC, what would be CCI.
The board.
Because I mean, you can't have a 2-day test. I mean, that's just outrageous. I'd say 3 is the absolute minimum. The pitch quality has to be better than this. I know it's a new stadium and everything, but the pitch quality, it just, even for India, where it's going to turn no matter what, it just has to be better. Yeah, I am.
Yeah. People often complain about pitches in England that and matches in England that don't often go to the fifth day, but this was just something else. I mean, if you got 50 on this pitch, that's an incredible innings. That's not me overstating it. It was that hard to bat. Yeah, 2 days for a pitch, for a match to last. It's just it's not good enough.
I'd say potentially the only argument against it is like India in the final innings of 49 for none, which is like, well, it's pretty gun if I say so myself. I mean, Rohit was going out run a ball and Shubman's 70 strike rate, so like,
I will say the pitch was definitely not good enough, but it wasn't. I think it could have gone till like at least the beginning of the third day. I think England batting first probably should have got a bit more. I don't think that was totally to do with the pitch, even though it did do stuff. Quite a lot of Axar's wickets were ones that actually went straight on and didn't turn. Obviously, you have that playing in your mind when some of them do turn, some of them don't. But I feel like as a bowler, that's what he does naturally anyway. I don't think that was the pitch itself, kind of just being that unpredictable.
Well, if it's turning massive, you play for massive turn. That's
Right,
why
but
Yeah.
the
like
ones that
Axar as
don't
a
spin were
bowler,
so
just in
dangerous.
general, he does tend to have one that does spin and like a lot that just don't naturally.
I've just been
Yeah.
baffled because Root got 5 for 8, Sab.
Oh no 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 no! I know.
Like, if
I
Joe
know.
Root's getting 5 for 8,
Fair
there's
enough,
something wrong.
fair enough. But
There's something wrong.
do we agree that England probably should have got a bit more runs in that first innings?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but so should
I'd say
India.
160 was par. I mean, 112 is low, but it's not like it was a 250 plus pitch.
Yeah.
It was 160 par. Like,
Yeah, I remember
Crawley
Alistair
did
Cook said
bat very
180
well.
was
I
par.
was like very impressed by him.
It was
But
just Root in that second innings. He bowled 38 balls. He's got a strike rate of 90. And he got a five. Like
yeah,
it would be 450 balls to take those 5. It took him like an over.
Yeah.
I mean, it was unbelievable.
there was 2
Well,
wickets
I
to seam in the
but I mean,
entire
why
test.
didn't Leach do that as
Yeah.
well? Maybe
Well, he got the
Leach just
top order. He did get the top order.
yeah, fair
Like he
enough.
bowled very well.
what I find
All the spins
surprising
bowled.
is before the test, like there weren't too many eyebrows raised at the fact England were playing one spinner.
Yeah, I wanted it.
A
I was
couple of
baffling.
overs
That was
into the
baffling.
game, there were. But
Once,
I mean,
In hindsight,
And
yeah,
I
but
still think they shouldn't have done it because like I don't know. I still say you always play 2 spinners in India, in my opinion.
well, it was the
obviously,
last
it's
day
like
night
a
test.
no-brainer.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the last day night test in India, there was 1 wicket taken by spin. So
yeah, exactly, yeah.
But like how Chennai was in that second test, I guess you could have been a bit more cautious and played an extra spinner. Especially since that
Yeah.
if you played Bess, he would have given you a bit more batting as well.
Especially with this new groundsman, MS Dhoni,
yeah, get him.
Shut
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, but the thing is, the day-night test is meant to be like an advertisement for Test cricket. Get the crowds in. Like everyone was expecting Jofra, Bumrah, swinging it all around. But instead, you got like a 2-day test. It's not a good.
What I will say is for people who don't actually watch cricket, who think 5 days is too long, technically this probably was good advertisement. saying like how many
Well,
wickets
no.
dropped in a period of
This-
like people would be excited. Like people who don't actually know cricket would be quite excited by how many wickets fell because they didn't actually
Yeah, but
appreciate it.
They just
No,
watch
then they
one
need
day
to funnel.
cricket. I mean,
yeah. Well, yeah.
you
This
know-
was like.
I have an
Yeah.
outrageous stat. Okay, I've actually got one here. The last time England played only one spinner in India
2000.
back in 2001. Okay, and
Dylan just done you
India
there.
needed to chase 5 to win, so they won by 10 wickets there as well. So
I mean, Dylan
Yeah.
just done you there because you just called it outrageous stat and he just knew it off the top of his head. So I think he's caught you slacking there.
well, it's an outrageous stat, but they said it on commentary, so
Yeah,
just
exactly. I
found
think
the
Graham
scorecard.
Swan said it.
Okay, fair
yeah.
enough.
But anyway,
Yeah. So I'm not taking credit for the stat finding. I'm just
Yeah.
saying it is an outrageous stat.
But though, Axar Patel, what a god.
I mean, he bowled
He
well.
played well.
he bowled well. He bowled well. No, I think he bowled like that type of thing. If he does that in England or something, maybe he gets like a one for because
I
but he
think
bowled
so.
it very consistently. He bowled very consistently. He bowled it. He
Yeah.
put it on a spot, and
No,
the
but-
pitch did its work.
I'm not gonna say
It's
It's
been like-
true. I'd say that's true from Dylan. I'd say that's true.
But the thing about him is like what I was saying before, the unpredictable. It's not just like because of that particular pitch. He's just like that where he has one ball like the undercutter, which is like kind of flying saucer type, where it does skid on, but then occasionally you'll have that one where he comes over the ball a bit more and it does spin.
You say that, but
Because I'm
like,
quite similar in my bowling that I have one that would probably rag and loads that don't. But like I don't even know when that
Comparing
happens.
himself to
Right.
Axel
Well, no,
Patel
no, no.
now.
But like,
Right,
I'm just trying to say that I
Right, John.
understand that because sometimes I don't even know when it's gonna rag. He probably does
Okay,
know
but
a bit
Sam-
more, but
Sam,
like,
are you
yeah.
telling me that if Axel Patel bowling as he was to go to New Zealand, Australia, England, or South Africa and bowled like that, he'd get an 11 for?
No, I never said that.
I'd
But
say
I
he'd
don't.
get-
I
he'd
think
get
that's a very good way to bowl,
5
being
max,
unpredictable.
max, absolute max.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying he would get
Maximum.
11, but I'm saying
The
that
max.
unpredictability.
Not the minimum point, the maximum point.
Are you done?
Differentiate. Equal
Yeah,
to
so
0.
PY. Yeah, but anyway, no,
No, but
because
I'm saying
yeah,
that
but Sam, though-
unpredictability is actually really good because if like it's so unpredictable, even he probably doesn't know which one's going to spin half the times. How's the batsman going to know? Obviously, that's being favoured in conditions where it spins a lot.
Yep.
But obviously, I still think he'll bowl well in other conditions as well. Obviously, not that well, but you know.
Yeah, but it's easy to say like, oh yeah, he got the wickets, the ones that went straight on, but that's not actually what got them out there. Like in the second innings,
Yeah.
the first one spun. I mean, Crawley had a bit of a shocker there, but it spun. It's in Bairstow's mind. He plays for the one that spins, goes straight on. Most of the
I don't
wickets
think
were
you
ones
can
that
really
go
say
straight
that
on.
For Bairstow, I think Bairstow.
Yeah, Bairstow was quite bad.
Just bad, really.
The thing is, his wickets are straight on, and that's not because of it straight on. It's because of turning. That doesn't happen in anywhere else, really.
Well, I
At least
think-
on the
I
day
think that
one,
what
day
set him
two
apart
pitch.
from at least Leach and the other spinners who did bowl was that he was just so consistent. Like he just put it on the spot every single ball, and he let the pitch do it for him.
Wait,
I think
speaking
when you
of
go with Leach
consistency.
and what we've seen in the past with Best, that they've been very inconsistent with their lines and lengths. So I think that's something that's like was really promising
Yeah.
from him.
Wait.
I mean, he bowled well.
Wait, Dylan, just speaking
Yeah.
of consistency, to add to the outrageous stat earlier, the one spinner they did pick, Richard Dawson. Okay, he's played 103 first-class matches. Do you want to know what his bowling average is?
Not really.
It's 44. That was
So
the
it
one
is
spinner they
Root.
picked to take them to glory.
Yeah, that's like
In
Root
India.
being
That's
the only
Root,
spinner in
yeah.
the side.
Wait, what's his name?
Maybe that's why they did
Graham.
bowl him. It was a bit
It's
stroke of
Richard
genius.
Dawson.
Oh, Richard. I wonder if it's Liam's dad. Well, it's probably
Well,
not. But
he's only 40, so I doubt it.
Richard Dawson. He's like the fourth most famous Richard Dawson on Google.
That's great.
Alright.
um.
Alright,
He's a decent bat, though. He's a decent bat. But...
You can talk about
Well,
the umpiring, maybe.
Oh yeah,
not
let's
Sam.
have a
Not
go.
yet. Not yet.
Okay,
Sam.
okay.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not
Sam.
yet. I was
Hold the
wanting to talk
horses.
about this match in particular. How much can we actually take from it? Like, what can you take away from it, as in
I'd-
teams wise?
I'd say mentally India are a lot stronger. Like you can see even though they're only chasing 49, Rohit and Gill, they went out there with intent to
Yeah.
score. Something that we didn't really see from England since Crawley got out on the first day. That intent to score, and it clearly worked for them. And then they chased it down in just under 8 overs. And it was sort of the mindset that they went out there, and it's kind of like if one turns past the bat, you kind of got to put that past yourself, and wait for the next ball, which is what they did like perfectly throughout that innings. And even in the first innings to begin with, Rohit He played brilliantly. He was sweeping the ball. He was using his feet. And yeah, he kind of let the pitch do its thing, but then when the ball was in his area, he played it how he wanted to and didn't let whether it was going to spin or not affect him. And I think all of the England batsmen can kind of learn a lot from what Rohit did this game, because to get 66 and then 25 not out on a pitch like this is a proper effort. It's almost like a double hundred basically.
Yeah, Rohit's had like two like amazing innings this series. Like last game he had the 160 on a pretty awful pitch. This game he had a very good 60. Like even Crawley got a 50, but it was mostly against the seamers. It was
Yeah.
just
I'd say as well, it looked quite clear from what I saw that India's spinners are a lot better than England's spinners.
yeah.
I mean, they just every ball that Indian spinners bowled was like they could be a wicket here. And for long periods of England's innings, it was kind of like that, but that was mainly when they were bowling at the Indian tail. The top order, for the most part, actually batted quite well, and got out to the really good balls.
I think when Axel was opening the bowling in England's second innings, I resonate with what Ian says. Like genuinely, every ball was a wicket-taking delivery.
It was
none
scary,
for two
yeah.
after three balls, and then for a solid like 10, 12 overs, it was just potential wicket every ball.
I think Axel and Ashwin's like a really good combination.
Like, it is.
Especially in conditions like that where Ashwin can literally spin the ball both ways. Like he's just amazing. And then Axel has the one that stays straight and spins. It's just I feel bad for the English batsmen because you can always say that they could have played with more intent, but realistically they were in a rock and a hard place. And it was very difficult for them.
If Jadeja comes back for the fourth test, if they play that trio, it's actually dead.
Yeah, I may touch on that after, but yeah. Go on.
Sab touched on like the England batsmen. Now, I was, as you all know, quite frustrated with how they batted in the first innings in particular. Which is like, if you're playing and you know there's a ball with your name on it, then surely until that ball comes, knowing it's going to come, you need to capitalize on the time you have and score runs. Ben Folkes, for instance, I think he epitomized this in that he was actually fortunate in that he spent time at the crease. I don't know, he plays like 40, 50 balls, but ended up scoring 11. And that just seems like a complete waste. No,
12 or 58.
Not many batsmen could survive 58 balls. Why not go and score a solid 30 or even 20 and survive less balls potentially? It just seems like such a waste to soak up all those balls, knowing you're going to get out at some stage.
The only thing I'd say to that is that like you were saying, like don't wait for the ball that's going to get out to come to you. But I feel like in the situation in that time of the game, that was pretty much every ball. Like I don't think it's easier said than done for him to just kind of go and start scoring. I feel like quite a lot of those balls where like he was dotting up were balls that could have actually got him out. So when you say that there's like don't wait for the ball that comes to get you out, I feel like there was quite a lot of them.
Yeah, but it's like I remember in the second innings, the only time we were looking good was when Stokes was showing intent. While he was defending, he looked like a bit hopeless.
No one tried anything. Like I'm not trying to be funny, but no one even tried to change the momentum in any way. It was sit there and wait to get out. Like that was it. That was plan A, plan B, and plan C, and they're all rubbish. So, I mean,
they need to work on their defensive technique against the spin because that really lacked.
It was bad for some of them. But I always remember
it was very shaky.
Yeah, Pope just look. He's not in good form.
I think one thing he's not good. Pope is that in the last like
he's not in good form.
Well, at least this whole series, pretty much. The first ball he's faced in every one of his innings has been some kind of edge or like a half chance. Like he hasn't feel settled in those first couple of balls. He started off really, really shaky from the beginning.
I wouldn't even worry about it though. Like if you think about somebody else who's kind of like in the similar situation in international team, Temba Bavuma, right? Temba's obviously gunned it. I mean, what's the average? It's like 60 odd, right? No, I'm just joking. But I mean, you can actually see similarities because like Bavuma, he bats 6 for SA. I mean, that's another story. But
there's other reasons for that, isn't there, Dave?
That's why I say it's another
Well,
story.
yeah, we
I'm just saying Pope doesn't want to get into that position where he's batting six for 6 years and he only has, two 300s and he's averaging 30. So he has to do something drastic
Well, what does he
now.
bat in county cricket?
Six, I think.
He used to bat
Six.
6. I'm pretty sure he's more like 4 or 5 now.
Yeah, he was
Ideally,
seems to
he
me like
wants
the
to be
guy.
going up the order.
Yeah.
Nah, he's probably just stuck there, to be
But
honest.
for who? I mean, he doesn't bat higher than Stokes or Root.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, for like the future.
And then if he goes to 3 and fails, everyone will be like, "Oh, why are you putting a young lad under such pressure at 3?"
Right, but
But
So
he's
I
the
have to
future once
say,
Stokes and Root kind of fade away.
Bairstow at 3 is not the answer.
I don't
Bairstow
know.
is not a number 3 in Test cricket. He is not.
He does not churn out the runs, does he?
Can
Yeah,
I
but
just touch up
I
on
mean,
something?
you may,
I
Sav,
feel
you
I
may.
feel like the England's rotation policy kind of set them up for failure here. I feel like the fact that they kind of took this series, which is like probably one of the biggest series at the moment, like they're going to play this year, as a chance to kind of rotate players. I feel like they at that point they kind of already kind of showed that they didn't have the intent of winning. They kind of already they were already taking it as like we're just going to play this like any other kind of series that we're playing against Sri Lanka or something like that and rotate our players. I feel like for a
It's
big
not.
series like this, they probably should have just gone with their best team, but they kind of setting themselves up already.
It's not. It's not even that. It's like it's also the disrespect like they're kind of showing to India. Like that. I don't. This isn't meant to be a joke. But as in, if you're going to India, that's like one of the biggest tours for any country. I mean, for England, it's probably just after the Ashes, but for pretty much every other country, it is the biggest tour. And for them to go there with sort of like not a B team necessarily, but they're missing Butler, they're missing Moeen now.
Right, like
Players like
resting
that.
players like that.
They're resting players. They didn't have their full strength side for the first two tests. I don't really know what they're doing. I mean, I know they have a long schedule this year and they have the Ashes later, but a lot of these test players aren't playing after this test series for a while because they've got the white ball stuff, and then
yeah,
the IPL comes around, and even then they have a bit of a break before they're playing test
yeah.
again. I just don't. I just can't actually understand how they're not playing their best squad in a series that means so much. Yeah, I just
Especially with the World Test
Yeah.
Championship on the line.
I mean, if you
Well,
look
I,
from the first
yeah, go
test to
on.
the second test, obviously they played brilliantly in the first test and managed to win that test. And then in the second test, they bring a bowling attack, which with just Jack Leach staying. Is that if you win a test in India, you expect most of that attack, if not all of it, to remain for your next test. But literally all of it, apart from Leach, was gone.
Yeah, I think they've changed
Yeah,
up
well,
way too much really with their whole squad, to be honest. This whole
you
rotation
can.
policy, I get it because they play a lot of tests, but I think it should be scrapped for such a big series. Like they can do that when they're touring smaller sides, but as David said, this is like one of the biggest series or second biggest series they have. They should be
Yeah,
just
but
like playing it with their full squad.
I do think it's pretty obvious they're prioritising the T20s. I'd expect them to put out a full team, but it's Corona. The bubble is hard. So I think when the summer's, by summer, when the bubbles are kind of gone, they'll be playing their full teams. It's just because of COVID. Like, if it was any other time, they would be playing a full team. The Anderson and Broad thing's a bit different because, they're old. You want to protect them a bit. But I'm actually in favour of that. I don't want Anderson playing too much.
Yeah, but
But
Dylan, in terms of like you saying the COVID bubble is hard and stuff, I agree, but I'd say like they should have kind of done more with that than when they were in Sri Lanka, and then kind of rested whoever wanted to be rested then, and actually played their full strength squad here and have no rotation for this particular tour. Because I think
well,
it's
you
just
look
like
at
the biggest
Aaron.
tour they have.
Yeah, but you looked at Aaron Finch. Even said we should adopt England's policy. Like, I don't think it's a bad policy.
No, it's good
It's
policy,
just
but I don't think it should like be so rigid in terms of like it should be prioritized for certain series over others, I think.
yeah. But why? Okay, why would this series be more important than the England India series back at home?
Well, I'm not saying it is. I'm saying, well, this particular series, one, the World Test Championship was on the line. I don't know if it still is, but also like,
Yes, England can't
Yeah, England.
go in the final anymore.
well, yeah, but then I'm saying like you had the Sri Lanka series where you could have done even more rotation if you wanted really, and
We
that
did.
was
Like, we didn't
necessary for
bring out
preparation.
Stokes or any.
Right, but you had
That
Butler
team was
playing that,
barely.
but then gone for this one. Um,
Yeah, but
Bairstow
you
out for
also
the
want
first
Butler's going
first
to
two
play in the
tests as well.
T20s, won't he? Because
Right,
you
but
need a
then if he
T20
if he
team.
missed that whole complete Sri Lanka tour, he could have played this the whole of this tour.
Yeah, but how long is this tour? Like 2, 3
Look,
months?
to be honest, it's a long time on the road for the England squad,
Yeah.
and it's not just being on the road; it's being locked up in your hotel room, not being able to go out. So it is
As a
actually
team.
hard.
Look, if I'm
So-
honest, I sympathize. I actually do, like before the bubble and like traveling and stuff. But at the end of the day, you are an international cricketer. It's not like you didn't sign up for that. Like,
Well, you
if
didn't sign up
And
for
you'd be
COVID,
touring.
did
You'd
you?
be
you didn't
touring
sign up for
either way.
COVID, but
The
like you
fact
would
that
have
you
been
have to be alone
touring. Yeah, like
is
Sab
different.
says, you would have been touring either way.
You're allowed to leave. It's not like you're not allowed to leave your room pretty much.
I think our
Like
consensus here is that we all think the rotation policy is a good thing, but at least me and David think
Wrong
it should have been
time.
prioritized
Good
a
time,
little bit
wrong.
more.
Good
Yeah,
good thing, wrong time.
yeah.
I don't really have too much of an issue with it, but
Well, I think they should be more flexible with it. So someone like
yeah,
Murray,
yeah.
who goes and takes 8 wickets and bats fairly well as well, shouldn't then be after one game going home.
I
But
think
I
yeah,
don't
but
know.
because they also like obviously decided it much earlier, and also because he's playing in the IPL. If he goes
Yeah.
now, comes back.
No,
For
but
a
that's
month or
what I
stuff,
mean
and
by
then he can't. Yeah,
flexibility. Like,
yeah.
All right.
Let's go.
So umpiring. What's your thoughts on that?
There was a few stinkers. There's been a few stinkers throughout the whole series. People have been like saying cheating. I wouldn't really go cheating because I mean that's just unrealistic. I'd say unconscious bias probably. I mean you can't really get away from that. I mean if you're gonna have a full Indian set of umpires, third umpires, match referee, it's kind of hard to get away from some sort of bias. So I can't really blame them for that. But just in terms of like the third umpire, going through the whole process of DRS, looking at all the angles, it's sort of been lacking. And I think also through the unconscious bias, some of the umpires' calls have been definitely going against England. Again, you can't really do anything to fix that. It's just like how it is. But yeah, it's been quite unfortunate.
Like in my opinion, I think yeah, I agree. In the past, it's been quite bad, but obviously, when you have games where the ball's spinning a lot, it makes it that much harder for the umpires as well. When there's that many chances, like it's difficult for them. But I do think at least today, I think the umpiring was actually quite good for the most part, and I think the third umpire was quite good with those two LBWs with Folks and Root, which are both really close. I feel like the first one probably should have gone in our favour, purely because like the on-field decision was out. But like at the end of the day, it was so close. I think it was a fair decision. So I think it's definitely improved from like how much outrage it caused earlier on in the series. But I think yeah, it's still a topic for debate,
I
especially with
think
Yeah,
neutral umpires.
I don't have any issues with on-field umpires that much. I mean, the neutral umpires, non-neutral umpires, are a bit odd because it was the same with the Windy series we had last summer. We had lots of umpires calls going our way. It's been a bit the same against us this series. It's just a bit odd. I think Ian said it a couple of episodes ago.
Does anyone
It's
know
just
why?
it's kind
I
of
might have done.
Pardon?
Does anyone
it's
know
because
why
it's
they were
essentially
neutral?
because it's like logistically it's very hard to travel like a singular umpire in a bubble on their own across the world. So they thought it's just like easier if they just keep them there and just use
Yeah.
them.
Wouldn't it be easier if you can kind of like assign a neutral umpire to a team? So like just I don't know, a West Indian umpire to the Indians wherever they tour, and he just goes with them.
Yeah, but the thing is, they're not always
Yeah.
going to be in the bubble. Like,
Yeah, I guess. But I mean,
it's
weren't we
just
saying how like the West Indies Bangladesh series had neutral umpires?
It
Is
was
that correct?
Yeah, but
Illingworth.
that's because they had
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah, it's just I don't really have an
I
issue with the
think it.
on-field umpiring that much.
I
It's
mean,
the third umpiring.
I think neutral umpire should be a priority, like as soon as possible.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand, like there are instances where it can't be done. Like there's just nothing that can happen.
especially
But
like
it
in
should
the
be a
South
priority.
Pakistan series, it was quite evident there as well. So.
I do think umpires could need a little bit of a
What
rework.
happened there? There was no controversy in that. There was one bit of controversy where one of our batsmen was given out when he just wasn't out. Like, oh.
Yeah, Dave. What's
I
that
will
about?
say
Oh,
umpires
actually,
cool.
there was
I'm
one
just
wide
joking.
as well. There was one wide that they bowled
Yeah, the
that
stupid
wasn't actually a
wide.
wide.
Why? That actually no, that cost us. I think it was 7 runs and made us lose the game.
Well, no, and delay made you lose the game.
No, it cost. No, I promise you that wide could make us lose the game. Like, genuinely.
But yeah, I think umpire score needs a bit of a rework in terms of how much leniency the umpire actually gets. Because I feel like it's got to be like, I don't know what it is right now. Is it 50% of it has to be touching for it to be umpire score?
I think
Basically,
it's
the seam
50%.
has to be touching.
Yeah, I
Or the
feel
right
like
No, it's a
umpire
bit more
score
than that.
needs.
It's a bit more than that.
I think there needs to be a little bit less umpire score. I think umpire score in the first place, was it more because the technology wasn't as reliable? But I feel like
Yeah.
Well,
obviously now
we
it's
want
way
tons
more
of umpires
reliable.
call.
Well,
We
we
want
do.
tons of our
Oh,
umpires
yeah,
call.
our
Yeah,
umpires call podcast.
Yeah,
the
get
best.
our umpires call round.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell all your friends. Yeah.
But actual umpires call lacks.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's more because the technology in the past was a bit inconsistent, but obviously now I think it's good enough that it should be given a bit more authority.
Well, I
I
would
mean, I don't
say
really have a big issue
if
with it.
they reduce the leniency of umpire score or get rid of it altogether, they need to reduce the number of reviews teams get.
Yes,
Because
yeah.
already there's teams taking ridiculous reviews. That's like,
The
what
Jofra
are you
Archer one
doing?
was just disgusting.
Yeah.
I don't know what
But
was
then
more
I
I
mean,
mean,
disgusting, the
sometimes
shot
you
or
just
the
take
review.
it because you have them left and there's no more batsmen to come.
the thing is,
Yes, like
it'll
what
be
Boomer did.
it'll be fine when COVID ends because that's when you'll get neutral umpires back, and then they'll go back down to 2 reviews instead of 3, and then
Yeah.
it should be better. To be fair, I don't really have an issue with 3 reviews. Like,
It's a lot. It just feels if you're a top 4 batsman and you're given out, unless it's absolutely plum, you review it.
Yeah.
facts. But I think
And
they do that anyway if they have 2 reviews.
But do we
Like,
want the game to be
yeah.
more like accurate in terms of, because in the past there's obviously going to be like a lot of decisions which were wrong, but like you kind of just that's just how it was. But now obviously there's going to be less of them going wrong, but then there's going to be more, like it's easier for you
What?
to just kind of review anything.
But
Unlimited
the
reviews.
uncertainty
Yeah.
is a bit exciting, isn't it?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I feel like in that way, if you're talking about
The art
uncertainty,
of reviewing is good.
Yeah.
that's true.
The
But
thing-
in
the-
terms of that,
refine your
umpire score
reviewing skills.
itself, like how it is right now, in terms of controversy and publicity, it's actually quite good. Because if you think about it, the more umpire score decisions there are, the more people talk about them, and it's kind of like, I guess, publicity for the game.
and we want
Ooh,
people
yeah.
talking about umpires cool.
Yeah, we do. We do.
But I'd say the one thing I don't understand is how for like the first 7 years of DRS, India decided in any of the series they play in, neither team can use DRS. I was actually baffled. Like I just don't understand why they chose to take that stance. I mean,
Maybe they didn't believe it.
Well, they didn't think it was good
believe
enough.
in what?
Well, yeah.
Trust its accuracy.
Well, I remember
Sam,
Hotspot used to be a bit of a farce, but like
Yeah.
what was it called? Hawkeyes. Like,
Hawkeye's just facts. Like,
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, what happened to
Yeah.
Hotspot?
it was
It was
rubbish. It got
inaccurate.
binned. Yeah.
Why? It was
Yeah.
good.
Because sometimes it would
was
show
just
stuff when there's nothing there, or it wouldn't show stuff when there was something
Yeah.
there. It was just like,
Yeah.
because they had Hotspot and Ultra Edge sometimes. I can't remember, and
Yeah.
then Ultra Edge would show that Hotspot was just wrong.
yeah.
I mean, Hotspot ideally is the best because you can physically
Yeah, but it
see.
Yeah.
doesn't work well. It
Yeah, I
doesn't
know.
No,
work
I know.
there
well
But
should-
if they
enough.
can make it work well, it's better than Ultra Edge.
I wish there was a Hotspot for the crease. You could like tell for stumpings,
Yeah.
whether his foot was in the air. They need to like come up with some
okay.
technology to
But
help
that's
with
like-
stumpings because
They got those
They
light
need to
gates
get
we
a
have
ground
in
camera.
in school when we're running the twos. They got to put them on like
Yeah.
when it triggers the light gate, so you can actually tell if
That's
their foot is
actually
on the
smart.
camera.
yeah.
But no, but realistically, they should actually get like a ground camera, so it's like right on the ground, and you can see exactly if his foot's on the ground or not, rather than those ones that are kind of like bird's eye, and you just have to,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
All right, how long have we been on this? Because it's been a while. We should probably wrap up.
Yeah.
Wrap up. Let's wrap up, lads.
Final
Alright,
comments.
so-
Final comments.
Final comments.
Ian.
Go England. Yeah.
Ian. Final comments. Final comments.
What do you want me to say?
Okay, you failed. Sab. Final comments. Final comments.
Go India, bun England. Bad umpiring, bad pitch, but go India.
I'll go. Big Kohli runs coming in the next test. I'm certain.
No, it's a Stokes double ton. But yeah. All right.
Stokes double ton.
Stokes.
Wait, don't laugh again, because
That's what happened with Roots.
last time we laughed.
Yeah, but it's Stokes, so like it wouldn't actually happen.
Until it does
Well, all
happen,
right, if you say so.
fun.
So yeah. Thanks for listening once again. As David
This-
said, go tell all your friends about Umpires Cool.
Socials will be plugged, won't they, Sab?
Yeah. Hopefully.
Obviously.
Yeah. Just follow the Twitter, TikTok, subscribe, and like the YouTube. Yeah, and the Instagram, of course.
The
And
TikTok has some
yeah.
banging videos. Banging videos.
yeah, we had a good one the other day. Well, it wasn't that great, but anyway. Anyway, thanks
Alright.
for listening. Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Go, Bobby!